Trojan Felly, what's up, man? Uscj here. It's the top of the morning. I hope everybody is getting ready to get up, get out, and make some things happen this morning. Listen, we got a special guest that's sitting in with USCJ today, and it is no other than Marquis Gallegos, one of my favorite players in the 2024 class. Marquis Gallegos' father will be joining us today. So let's get ready to bring him in real quick, and let's talk about the recruiter process, USC football as a whole. Let's go. Here he is right here. It is Marquis Gallegos' father. His name is Sam Gallegos. Sam, how you doing, my man?
Good to be here. Glad to be here, man. Finally got to meet you, but excited.
Absolutely, man. So once again, thank you for coming in. And I really, man, I talk to a lot of people and I tell them there are a couple of guys that I can think of that come to my mind right off the top when I talk about the 2024 class. And Marquis is absolutely one of those guys. Man, I can name them right off the top. I would say Marquis, of course, Marcellus, and Braylon Conley. There's a couple of guys. Yeah. Marquis, man, he just has that it factor, I believe. And I believe once he develops and comes into that body, I really believe he's going to be something special, man. So my question to you is, starting off, how did Marquis get into football?
Well, we've always been a football family. Started off with my nephew. He played at Colorado 4 years. Was at Chaminade High School. Played at Colorado. Started 50 games for them back in I think 2013 to 2016, about there. But we've always we're into football. I played football in high school. All my cousins did as well. And once we started all having kids, pretty much pushed them all into football and been playing ever since they were about 6 years old, as early as they can play.
Right. So yeah, it's interesting because your other son I saw he's playing. Is it at New Mexico or what school is that?
Yeah, New Mexico State.
Okay, New Mexico
State. He'll be a redshirt junior coming up this season.
Okay. So you guys kind of have a football family, man. And what position do you play, if you don't mind me asking?
Safety as well.
Oh, you play
just kind of just kind of. Okay. But it was kind of weird because none of my kids actually played safety in Pop Warner in youth football until they actually got to high school. They played everything else but safety. Yeah.
Wow. So I guess Marquis got the safety. What about your other son? What position does he play?
He's safety as well. He's also safety.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
my nephew was a linebacker, but the other two were safeties.
So the safety really came from you, even though they played linebacker. As far as the technique and the skill set of the safety position, I mean, it had to come from you, right? I mean, they played the position.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much I actually pushed him towards safety, but ever since I can remember, my favorite players were always safeties. I mean, starting with Ronnie Lott, that was like my dude back then. Even in Pop Warner, I wore number 42. And then from Ed Reed, Bob Sanders, Atwater. I was just a big. I don't know, for some reason, I don't know if it's the hitting back then, more of the hitting back then, but yeah, I was always a fan of that position.
Right. So at what point did you know that Marquis has something special? Because the percentage of guys actually going to play college, like I said, I went to college to go play. My son has an opportunity. But with that being said, the percentage of guys that actually go play, it's not a high percentage, man. Most people would love to be in the shoes of guys like your son. So when did you know that something was a little bit different?
I believe, well, I saw how my older son kind of developed kind of late. He didn't actually play varsity till his junior year. He was all state and everything. He did well, but he developed kind of late. Marquis was ready to go at his freshman year. He was ready to go. He had all the tools. He had the size already. He grew pretty quick there in 8th grade. So at that point, and like you said, with the odds of playing D1 school, I've actually even took a little bit further and would tell them, what's the odds of playing D1 football as a Latino athlete?
Yeah,
I go now.
man,
Those
that's so
odds are
big,
even
man.
crazier.
Yeah, yeah,
So I was like, as much as you think you're beating the odds just playing D1, it's actually even harder what you guys are doing right now. You know.
yeah, yeah. But his skill set, it's right there. So he's always played safety position. And well, you said you did mention
He came
linebacker.
in, yeah, he came in high school playing. He played, man. He pop youth league. He played linebacker. He played fullback. He played tight end. He played receiver. He played
Wow.
quarterback. Uh, wherever I needed him, I coached him. So wherever I needed him, that's where I would put him.
He was essentially a Swiss Army knife. So at what point did it start getting like extremely serious as far as the recruiting process? My son
So
basically didn't come on till late. When did your son start getting letters and stuff like that?
So his freshman year was that COVID year. So they had 5 games really. He only played five
Yeah,
games. So
yeah.
really nothing developed after that. He had one game on TV where he did very well. Caught the eye of Greg Biggins. He was calling the game. Uh, you
Right.
know, Here in Southern California, everybody knows Greg Biggins. So
Yeah.
he was calling the game, caught the eye of his eye during that game. Knowing that he was just a freshman. First games, sophomore year, we were out at again another televised game at Oaks Christian, and he had 2 pick sixes, one for 99 yards, one for 66
Wait,
yards.
whoa, 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 whoa,
Um,
whoa. Wait. You said he had two pick
yeah,
sixes?
yeah, his
Yeah.
first sophomore game as a sophomore.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it was all televised game. LeBron was there. LeBron James was in the stands watching the game.
Wow.
Yeah, after that game, I think directly after that game, that's when he got the first call for, I believe it was Fresno State. DeBoer called
Okay.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he called him, gave him his first offer.
That's
And
actually a good, I mean, a
from from then,
good first offer.
yeah, from there it kind of just blew up. Coming into his junior year, had another great year, 7 interceptions, like 100 tackles. So
Man, I
yeah,
know
it
you
just
had to be extremely proud of that, man. Just seeing that. I know you were just goozing out with all types
yeah,
of
yeah.
energy, man.
Well, yeah, again, it almost doesn't feel believable until it happens. Like all the
Yeah.
recruiting thing. It's something you kind of dream about, you hope for, but you don't. I don't know how to say it. You don't get over excited about it because you don't know if it's going to happen. So what
Yeah.
started happening, started
Yeah.
those offers, and yeah, it's just an unbelievable feeling to feel that you're in that position
Yeah.
as a parent.
No doubt.
Yeah, so
No
that
doubt.
was that was that was great.
So as a father, I know how it can be. How do you view your son? Like me, just looking at it as a football guy and one who covers football, the way I view Marquis and just other athletes, I'll kind of say, okay, they have this skill set. But as a father, can you actually do you view that the same way? I'm just trying to see how you view it. Do you view it the same way as other people, or is it just my son? And hopefully he continues to get better and better.
No, well, I do view, like, I know what his skill sets are. Um,
Yeah,
I spoke about this before about somehow always being around the ball is I don't know, some kind of talent, or it's just his mindset about the game. Just knowing, just with his mind, he cuts off a couple steps from getting to the ball. Just knowing where it's going to be,
yeah,
anticipating stuff. Um,
yeah.
but as far as like him developing, it's just I just know if you work hard, if you keep working, you're not going to go backwards. You're just only going to get
Absolutely.
better, right? So
Absolutely.
I know where skill sets is now and how hard he
Yeah.
works. So I kind of not too worried about it. I guess it, I feel like he's gonna find himself on the field somehow. It's just gonna happen. I mean, it's inevitable with his skill set and how much he works at it, and how much he, not only works his body but his mind. Watches a lot of film. I just and just on conversations having with him, I know he's gonna find his way on the field, and once he gets there, again, next level is to produce. To produce while he's out on the field, and I believe he's on that track.
Absolutely. You talked about his being in the right place at the right time. I attribute that to a football IQ. I think he has
Right.
that, and then also with the instincts, man. Some guys just had that knack for the ball. I think that Marquis has that knack for the ball. I really believe that.
Right.
So with that being said, the recruiting process, how did you guys ended up coming with the decision to pick USC, and what were the other schools that actually were really serious contenders with USC?
Right. So there was other schools that really showed interest in him, like Oregon, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Michigan. What else? A few, like Washington. But there was only like in on our list, or on my list,
Yeah.
only a number of schools that I would let him go to, that
Can you
I would
break
let
that
him
down?
choose from.
Can you explain that? I know what you mean, but can you explain that exactly what you mean
Yeah,
by that?
I just think of more of a future past football. So,
Absolutely.
and taking advantage of the opportunity he has. I don't
Right.
know if he didn't play football. Um, well, not to, but I wouldn't know. I kind of feel like he wouldn't have got into USC. He wouldn't have got into a Notre Dame. He wouldn't have got into a Michigan. Schools
Right.
like that, where now you have that opportunity as an athlete.
Man.
It's kind of hard to turn that down. Like, it's because, again, you don't know football, right? Football
Yeah.
can end at any time. Like they say, it could end in 4 years after you graduate, or another 4 years after that, or and you're still young, and that those degrees kind of, those live on, man. I don't know if you guys, well, I know for sure you guys seen the Notre Dame crowd when they go into the Coliseum,
Yeah.
right? They ran out a whole
Absolutely.
park. There's a whole network there of people that,
Yeah.
and that's how SC is. SC, whole
Absolutely.
network of people that'll help them in their future. And that's something that I know I wanted for Marquis. Like
Absolutely.
that is something I couldn't just send them to school and bank on trusting them to develop them enough to send them to the next level. You know,
Absolutely.
it, so we kind of narrowed it down to SC, Michigan, and Notre Dame. Pretty much, those were the three. I
Wow.
was actually like, that's if you pick from those three, I'll be fine.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, and just visiting those three schools, yeah, they're all different. They all have this pluses and pros and cons, but after that degree, you get handed that degree, man.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah.
it's at, man.
Man, that degree, yeah, that SC degree is next level. And as you stated,
Yeah.
the network is absolutely it's insane. So you guys basically decided to go with USC. Well, he decided, but I mean, you guys,
Right.
of course, I know you guys backed him. But so with that being said, so how did you see it as far as, because growing up in Southern California, man, I grew up 4 miles, man. I'm from like the Crenshaw district in LA, man. So
Okay.
I grew up about 4 miles from the Coliseum. And so the way we view USC, UCLA wasn't even on the table for. I mean, as far as
Right.
just being a fan, USC was everything to me. So, and I know I can see you SC'd up right now. It's everything to you. So, how much more did it mean to you as a father growing up, Southern California, and now your son is committed to one of the most prestigious universities? How much did that mean to you?
Ah, man, it's honestly, it's unrealistic. Like, the honestly, what I thought about, being younger, and it's almost like outside the realm of my dreams. Like it's kind
Right.
of, yeah, it kind of surpassed that. Like,
Right.
when they're little kids, of course, you're like, yeah, that'd be awesome if you played here at SC. Think I took a couple. We went to a couple spring games when he was little. Took a couple pictures. He has like signed jerseys by like Juju and a couple players he met out there. And but at that time, you're like, that would be great, right? But then
Yeah.
they start actually playing football, and then you start looking at those same odds that we were talking about, and you're
Right.
like, probably not. You're like, but
Right.
I'll
Right.
take a Fresno State. I'll take
Right. Right.
I'll take
Right.
any D1 school. And then once it got to the level where we're picking between Notre Dame, SC, like then it was like, man, it's just that just blows your mind. Like it's
Yeah.
almost unbelievable. And I mean, there was a time there where SC wasn't like where he was going to go. Um,
Right.
defensive wise and stuff, defensively, he was
Yeah.
concerned about the defense, and the
Right.
development. But I mean, just so well, I mean, just talking to Lincoln Riley, we came to the conclusion that, oh, he's going to make the right moves
Yeah.
for what he's going to do, whatever it takes, you
Right.
know,
Right.
and and that whole, they don't recruit defense. I mean, honestly, all defenses, there's good players everywhere. What
Everywhere.
it is,
Everywhere.
it's the coaching. I mean,
Yeah.
that defensive coaching, you set up that coaching, man, you have a good defense, because there's athletes everywhere on every team. There's athletes. So if
Right.
you set up a good defensive staff, I mean, they don't have to be here 10 years for you to,
Yeah.
for you to get the benefits of having a staff.
Yeah.
That's so, as soon as he kind of talked to us and let us know that, he was going to do whatever it takes to get that defense going. And, whatever moves he had to make, then, we believed him, and we decided to go with SC.
Well, I tell you what, man. I don't think. Hey, he absolutely kept his word, because, and I want to transition into that, talking about the coaching staff, because now you guys are at USC, and this coaching staff, I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't take another coaching staff right now, currently, over the coaching staff that we have right now. Whether you look at everything that's been assembled together. So, with that being said, what are your thoughts on everything that's been assembled together as it relates to the staff?
Oh man, it's a great staff. From Coach Lynn to Ants to everybody there, man. It's a staff that you. It's not a new staff. They have
Right.
produced, like they have
Right.
stuff on paper they could show you, and just talking to the staff, man. Here's the thing about good coaching too, man. They know how to talk to people, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's part of being a coach. They know how to talk to people. They know how to talk to players. They know how to talk to parents. And that staff was, I mean, something set up where, like you said, I don't assembly like I don't know any staff that I don't know you could have built a better staff.
No. No.
That's, I mean, everything you asked for, we got, and as
Absolutely.
far as the staff, and just when we went on trips, that's really what stood out to us from other schools.
Right.
Their staff that we talked to, like that's really
Right.
to just so
Yeah.
we went out to Michigan, right? Michigan
Right.
twice. We went out to Michigan twice. We met, the staff, the safety coach, the defensive coach. Everybody's great. The strength and conditioning coach. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
with the Chargers. Yeah,
He's gone. All those guys. A
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
those guys
All
are
those guys we
gone.
met, and they were all in the locker room. Team was in the locker room. We saw
Right.
them work. We saw them how they how how they interacted with each other. Blake Horn came up, said what's up.
Right.
The whole thing. Me and Marquis both said, we go, they're gonna win the national championship. We're
Oh
like,
yeah. No doubt about it.
yeah, we're like, and because we traveled to so many other schools, we saw the difference right away between
Right.
them and everybody else. And we're like,
Wow.
and this was like summer, June of last year, before
Yeah.
even fall camp. And we're like, yeah, these guys are going to win the Natty. Like they're going to win the national
Man.
championship. And I told that everybody that would believe me, man, I would be like, man, put some money on them right now because they're going to
Hey,
win it.
well,
They're going to win it.
I think you're right, man, because Jim Harbaugh he had a blueprint and he followed
Yeah.
that. And the coaching staff, they were hard nosed, and of course some of those guys were guys that have been developed throughout the years, because the first few years, I guess 3 or 4 years, they weren't successful. But then once everything came to a head, those guys were able to move and groove. But I totally 100% agree with you. And with that being said, you look at the coaching staff that USC has assembled together. Matt Inch, of course, linebackers coach. He's won several national championships from the D2, D1AA, and then Doug Belt, who will be coaching your son, of course, with Taylor Mays. Alabama at first, before he came from Houston, coached big-time safeties, Mika Fitzpatrick. So I think, man, Marquis, and you're absolutely right, he's in some very, very good hands right now. So
yeah, definitely.
With that being said, how's he feeling now? Because I know when you get to college, everybody's like Marquis. Right. Everybody is it's iron sharpened iron. Everybody's good. So how's he feeling now about being there in the competition?
Oh, he loves it, man. He's a very confident kid. That to tell you, like he comes home, he's like, I didn't get too many reps here. Well, he'll call me, not coming home, but he'll call me and be like, I didn't get too many reps, but it's all right. He's like, all right, and the next week, I got a couple more, or I went and watched extra film with this, with Bookie or Mays, and you'll be like, or he'll work out with Achilles sometimes, the veteran guys, but he's very confident. He's like, I'm gonna get on the field somehow. He tells me like I'm gonna get on the field somehow, like if special teams, whatever, but I'm gonna get on the field. So
absolutely,
he loves that competition. He rather it be that way than just given to him, And again, it is a little struggle because of course they don't understand. They've never been behind anybody,
Right.
So it is an adjustment. It is an adjustment, but we just got to remind them like that's how it is. You just you start behind. That's the starting point.
That's the reality of college football.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna in now college football. I mean, how many freshmen start like in the country? Like if you started as a freshman anywhere, you're a freshman All-American automatically.
You're a very unique individual.
Right. So I'm like, man, that's another low percentage. Like, but the thing about college is you don't have to be your best 3 years. You don't have to be great early like in high school to get recruited. You just need that one great year.
That's all you need.
That one great year. And if you're ready and you're you stuck with it and you developed and you worked hard, you'll get there. You'll get there. Take some patience,
absolutely.
But you'll get there. Well,
most guys back in the day, when I was coming up, most guys you would hear guys redshirting quite a bit. You rarely hear about it now, but redshirting is just there's nothing wrong with redshirting. You guys get bigger, they develop. But by the way, Marquis, he gained, I think what did he gain, like 12 pounds? He had the before and after pictures.
Yeah, he gained 20 pounds. He gained 20 pounds from January. Yeah, from January to now. He's up 20 pounds.
How did he gain?
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how much work that is, the eating, the constant eating. What was that process like with gaining that weight?
Yeah, the hardest part for him was the eating. He pretty much had to eat when you're not hungry. You got to eat when you're not hungry. And, Coach Wiley told him, like, that's going to be the hardest part. Kind of warned him about it and told him, like, the more you do it, though, you'll get used to it and you'll start feeling hungry. You'll start feeling hungry again. Yeah. And he got to that point where, he wakes up hungry. before going to bed, he's hungry. So, it's getting a lot easier to eat. But I mean, it is a struggle. I mean,
Yeah,
because I mean,
yeah.
if you got to eat 6, 7 times a day, I
And
mean,
we're
it's
not
not
talking
going to be
about, we're not.
7 different meals. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not 7 different restaurants. It's
Right.
mostly the same thing over and over again. You
Wow.
know, and
Wow.
it's not your favorite foods most of the time. You just gotta eat.
Wow. So he's been able. I'm glad he was able to get there a little early, and him and Marcellus, a
Definitely.
couple other guys.
Yeah.
How has he been able to, as you stated before, USC just getting in that school alone? I don't think people realize.
No.
Some of my closest buddies played at USC. They talked about the academics. Like it's no joke. Like you really have to get in
Right.
there and really study and really do your work. So how's that part been as far as balancing class and workouts and all of that?
Yeah, he mentioned to me, he goes, one of the hardest parts is going to be the academic part. Like, he's a smart kid, but he's never been like, I'm gonna get an A in this test. He gets
Yeah,
A's in his classes because he does his work, but
right.
he's not like acing tests. So that's going to be a struggle for him. But I mean, he does the work. So anywhere where you do the work, you'll be okay. And
Absolutely.
but he does say that it is difficult, and he mentions that when he does graduate, that's going to be probably one of his biggest accomplishments, because
Man.
it is he's more concerned about that than the football portion of it. He's more confident in the football than he is in the academic part of it. But I mean, he did well. I think he finished this semester with the 3.0. So,
Wow. And tell him congratulations on that. But as time goes
thank you.
by, I think things will start smoothing it out
Right.
as it relates to that, because it's different when you're trying to balance workouts. You got to go to
Right.
school. You
Especially
have
your first
meetings.
year.
Yeah, yeah. So that's definitely so. Real quick, I want to transition into there's a myth. The fan base. I think the fan base is what I call at times, not all of them, lost in the sauce. And what I mean by that is they think that USC is not recruiting. Well, Lincoln Riley and staff is not recruiting Southern California kids. I can go on and on and on, whether it's Peyton Woodyard, whether it's Kingston. Well, I'm sure you know those guys. I'm sure Marquis played with
Yeah.
some of those guys.
They all played 7-on-7 together. Yeah. On the same team.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you say as far as USC recruiting Southern California? Because a lot of people think that USC is not recruiting Southern California. What would your message be to the fan base right now, as it relates to that?
So I think the issue is for myself, we're a 2024 class. So being here in Southern California, you pay attention to that class, right? Where your
Right.
son's at. And you start knowing these kids, and you start knowing, like, besides all the stars, at what level they are, right? Like, this guy's better
Right.
than this guy, this guy's better than this guy. So SC does the same thing.
Right.
No matter the stars, they're going for the better kids that they think is better.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're going for all the, just because you're a 4-star, they want you. That's not the case. They're going for the right, because sometimes in Southern California, it could be slow on offense, or quality of running backs, not too many. So you're not going to take the number one running back in California when he could be the number 9th in Texas, right?
Right.
And it fluctuates every year. Sometimes we have 8 good quarterbacks here in California. Other year we might have 1, 2. And so just because someone gave someone a star in California, 4 stars, doesn't mean SC needs to go get them. Like, that's not the case.
Right.
It's not, they're not even interested in them. But for some reason, Southern, the fan base thinks, oh, why didn't we get him? We never even wanted him. Like, we weren't even going after him. Like, that's not the case. Yeah.
Right.
And it's because, as a fan base, every year you're just looking at stars, right? You're not following, like, honestly, like right now, 2025, 26, I look at who's like putting us in their top fire. But I'm
Right.
not looking at who actually got offered or when did they get offered. I don't start looking at them till like they start narrowing stuff down. And but as a fan, you start thinking like, everybody's got offered. Like that's not the case. They're not interested. And of course, we are going to lose out on some guys. We're not going to get all. You're not going to get all the Southern California guys you want. You're going to lose out on some. But if you're doing great in recruiting, you get the right guys, the right fit for USC. And sometimes if you're missing on those guys, it's because it wasn't a good fit for you or for them, right? I
Right.
mean, it's got to fit the other way around as well, and you want
Yeah.
it to be a good fit for both of you because the new model now is to develop for USC, and that's a great
Absolutely.
model. And development requires for you to like USC, for like the culture, liking the coaching staff, like everything else, for you to stay there to get developed. So if
Absolutely.
you're already not part of that, not with that, then yes, go somewhere else, and it's fine. But and like I was telling you, well, I kind of commented on your thing. Other
Yeah.
schools, it's just other schools got to put forward what they're good at, right? Like
Right.
USC's got to be who they are.
Right.
I kind of went off of USC, a few years back because they're trying to act like other schools, trying to reach out. Great, like no, you're USC. Like you gotta
Absolutely.
sell what you got. Like Notre Dame ain't trying to hit the portal because they know what their degree's worth. They're not. They're playing a different game, right? And
Right.
I get it. There's other schools that don't have the weather, don't have the the academics, don't have the national titles, so they got to go with what they got. If it's money,
Right.
they got to go with money, right?
Yeah.
They got to shoot out that money. And but
Yeah.
USC's can't play that game. We can't fall into what
Man,
they're
can
playing.
you say that one more
We
time?
can't.
Because there's so many. You got to stay right there because there's so many
Yeah.
people that are think that USC has to play that game, and and,
No,
and I
not
don't.
at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and and I'll tell you, there's schools that'll sign the first top five, whatever, five kids from Southern California, even though they don't want them, even though they don't like say 5 to 10, they'll sign 5 to 10, even though they don't think they'll ever play for them,
Yeah.
even though they have a bad evaluation, they do it just so it looks like so they could probably land that one or two kid that they
Yeah.
do want. And
Right.
that's just to spin the narrative that look, everybody's picking whatever school over SC. So
We don't have
they're
to
trying
say
to
we don't have
do
to say the school,
right,
but we
right.
know
You
what
know
school
what
we.
school. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know what school.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
school just by looking at their depth charts, you'll know what school.
It's
Where they're
ridiculous. Yeah.
stacking, you know, 8, 9 guys at one position, and it's just that. It's and then
Yeah.
USC's not losing it to like they're not losing guys to them. It
No.
We didn't want like we passed on those guys, and yeah, we might have lost one, but that was their whole plan. That's why they
Yeah.
took five to land that one,
Yeah.
and you'll see those five hit the portal pretty soon next year or whatever.
Absolutely.
You'll see the guys but like you were saying, our fan base gets too worried about that and starts talking negatively where everybody starts believing it. Everybody
Yeah.
starts believing that's the case, and that's not the case at all. Like I've seen tweets from people, that I respect that have podcasts here, but they're not right. It's just it's just a perception of it,
Right.
and you're kind of helping that out by saying like, oh, what are we doing or what's going on? Like with recruiting, you're gonna miss on some guys, but you're not missing on as many as you think you're missing on. And it's just like that. It's the recruiting process, which we should have, and it's different than it was 10 years ago. I'm gonna tell you
Oh
that
my
much.
God.
Lincoln Riley, why do you think he's going to Texas get a running backs?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
it was slow in running backs. I'm gonna tell you, 2024, we didn't have that many running backs. You know, I mean, Yeah,
Yeah.
Nate Frazier was good too, but other than Nate, we didn't have too many that we could go after, right? So we're not losing anybody. And if we could find character guys that want USC, like you see Cameron Fountain, right? You've
Yeah.
seen her mom everywhere. And it's not only the kid, you gotta know the parents have to know what USC is also.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they buy into it. If they buy into it, now you know the kids bought into it. They know
Absolutely.
coming from Florida, if you know what USC represents, and you're in Florida or Georgia or Texas, then that's the type of people kids you want here.
Yeah.
And to tell you, I mean, the 2024 class, talking to Marquis, they're all very together. They always hang out. They feel like something special's coming. And and in
That's so
every
important.
special team, and in every special team, every documentary, every thing you read about or watch about a team winning a championship and a national championship, they're the first ones to know years before that was going to happen, just because of the
Absolutely.
camaraderie, of the feeling it is, the coaching staff, the culture, they feel it, and that's what I feel is coming for USC.
You said so much right there. It's I don't think people really understand, and I've been trying to drive home the point about this team has chemistry. A lot of people
Yeah,
I've been hearing these crazy comments, man. For some of the things, just from some of the fan base, and I try to explain that not only do we have the coaching staff, but you got these guys that are character guys and guys that have chemistry, and that guys that I believe is going to gel together. And I think that's so you hit on so many things that plays so much of a huge role. And you're looking at some of the guys, whether it's Cameron Fountain or some of the other guys that came from out of town. A lot of people they look at it as if and we talked about this. USC is just hopping over the local guys, but how many guys are better than Cameron Fountain at that position?
right.
You know what I mean? So that's how they got to look at it. I'm so glad you said that. And so with that being said, can you just what would you say to the fan base as far as, because I did a live video the other day, and thank you. I appreciate you coming on there and making a comment. I can't remember the comment verbatim, but you were basically alluded to just being positive and how much do parents, just so the fan base can know, how much do parents and players watch these podcasts and even the tweets that go out? How important is it to be positive?
Yeah, it's very important because the parents are the ones who watch. Not as the kids don't watch as much, but the parents
Yeah.
do. They
Yeah.
they want to know how it is to be at USC, how the culture, what they're doing. Like they want to know how the kids feel about the school and things like that. So that's why I also think it's very important for people like you that do the podcast to and I'm not talking negative either, but it's kind of like you got to be careful on what you say and it just being your opinion, because
Right.
as a guy doing a podcast, people don't see you as a guy just giving your opinion. They see you as
Absolutely.
a guy that has some kind of inside information or a close
Absolutely.
relationship with the team and pretty much knows what's going on there. So when
Yeah.
you say something negative, it's almost like they think it's facts because you should have that inside information. And I've seen
Man.
a couple podcasts where it's just something as simple as like, oh, this guy gained this many pounds this offseason, and someone going, I don't think so. That's like you're already saying that's not true. Like
Right.
that
Right.
SE's throwing out false information,
Right.
and even though you don't believe it, that and you have the right to not believe it, but when you're on a podcast and you say something like that, you kind of put on the negative like context on it that USC's just trying to say they're bulking up their guys, but that's not true,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
And you don't have no facts whether it's true or not. You just I don't think so,
Right.
right? So it's just very important for people, people if you guys love SC, man, and you guys, and it's fine to throw out your opinions and stuff like that, but always know that there's other facts behind everything else, a lot that we don't know. So so when you see a guy going to this school, we don't know the reason. We do not know the reason at all. You
Right.
could speculate all you want and guess and throw out guesses, but we don't know. So just be careful with that negative talk. Try to keep it positive. If you hear something positive, yeah, go ahead, tweet it. You see how excited people are when positive stuff comes out, man. You see
Absolutely.
those fight ons come on Twitter, go
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy. That's the Twitter that most of our fans want. And
Absolutely.
kind of that's why we follow, and that's why we watch these podcasts, and you Uscj, man, I gotta tell you, man, you keep it positive, and you're one that I watch because if you if you're coming on with something, it's because you got something positive, like you got some good
Absolutely.
news, you got and that's what kind of we want to hear, especially as a parent, and I'm pretty sure incoming recruits or parents, potential recruits, they just,
Absolutely.
as long as we keep it positive, man, we'll be all right.
Absolutely. And man, I definitely appreciate you saying that. And I don't think I really realized it until I guess about a year ago, kind of when Steam started picking up for my podcast. A recruit just committed. I'm not gonna say his name, but he committed to
Mhm.
USC. And I said, man, welcome to the family. And I said, I have a podcast. And I just wanted to say welcome to. He said, man, I know who you are. He said, my mom and I watch you all
Yeah,
the time. And I was like,
yeah,
whoa, that really turned the lights turned on for me. And I always kind of knew it because some recruits text me or whatever or inbox me. But I said, you know what? I got to be very careful. It's not that we're not truth tellers, but we just want to
right.
keep a positive. We want to keep a positive spin. We want to, we are a reflection and an extension of USC football and what they represent, and we don't want to give any content for our enemies as well. And we just always kind of want to stay with the positive message and the positive insight as it relates to this, man. So I definitely
Right.
appreciate you coming. I didn't want to take all your time, but man, you have been. I'm gonna tell you, I've
Hey, man,
absolutely.
I could talk USC all day now, man. I'm all in.
Absolutely, man. Well, look, don't make this your last time to come on, man. You got an open invitation. I'm gonna try to get more of the parents. I did quite a few of the athletes, as far as the past athletes, USC guys as well. So this is summertime, so we're gonna try to pick up some steam as it relates to that. But I definitely want to say thank you to you and your family, man. Just being a part of the Trojan family. I really appreciate you stopping by. Any last thing that
Thank
you
you,
wanted to
thank you.
say, wanted to leave with the Trojan family, as far as advice before we get out of here, to a recruit, a parent, as to why they should choose USC football?
So, if you're a recruit, a parent now, uh, a future USC guy, a committed guy, a guy with a USC offer, man, you gotta really, and you decide to come to USC, you will not regret it. There's very special things going on here. As an inside guy that talks to the coaches, that's at the facilities, and seeing the change and the atmosphere, we're all in for some special footballs, special years to come. I I I believe in this team, in this coaching staff, in the culture, and it's going to be something special if you're from Southern California and you have the opportunity to come play at USC. uh, I would suggest you don't miss that train, man, because it's going to be something special coming up, and like I said, you won't regret it. It's something special, and if not everybody gets this opportunity, but if you do, don't pass it up, and of course, always fight
Wow,
on.
man. Yeah, yeah, fight on. And so thank you once again to Sam. Sam, hold tight for just a second. Thank you for Sam.
Yes,
he was a very special guest, and we really appreciate him stopping by. Listen, so until later on, everybody stay blessed. Don't forget to get up, get out, and make some things happen. Until later on, fight on, fight on, fight on.